busy around the junction of Countersthorpe Road and Hospital Lane, where the improvement works are now taking place between South Wigston and Countersthorpe. Temporary lights in use at the junction there. I'm Sally Hurst at Area Traffic Control.
Ben Jackson.
BBC Radio Leicester.
Good evening, Ben Jackson with you here live for the last hour from Harborough, here right in the centre of the town. You can come and join us if you fancy coming and having a natter. Still to come though before 6, a mother has been left frustrated after her daughter's operation was cancelled twice by the Leicester Royal Infirmary. We'll be catching up with that. Sir David Attenborough has been singing the praises of Bradgate Park whilst he's been in Leicestershire today, and we'll have another tale from Station Road. Now, one of Leicestershire's most loved and well-known sons has been in the county again today. Sir David Attenborough came back to an old haunt of his, this time to officially open a new visitor centre at Bradgate Park. £170,000 has been raised to convert a barn into a new educational space at the site. The broadcaster grew up in Leicester and spent much of his childhood at the country park. It's even where he saw birds for the first time and developed his interest in rocks. He began by telling our reporter Sarah Teal why Bradgate Park is still so important to him.
Well, it was the nearest countryside, sort of wild countryside, varied countryside to where I lived in Leicester. We came here regularly, walking up to Old John, but there were crayfish in the streams. I don't know whether there still are. And of course, the very famous fossils here. I didn't know them at the time, but of course then I go around the world and I talk about Bradgate, and Charnia, and they often people in South Africa, Australia don't know what that means. I say, why do you think it's called Charnia? Charnia Forest, where I grew up. Yeah.
How important would it have been to you to have actually made that discovery yourself, though?
Oh, it would have been fantastic. But in fact, it teaches me to use my eyes and not necessarily believe everything said, because this world important fossil Charnia, which was discovered here about 10 years after I was here, another chap, a lad who was at Wigston Grammar School for boys, I would really love to have found it myself. Because the nice thing was that it sort of showed that the world of experts were wrong. That's always nice to do. The experts at the time were saying Precambrian, these very, very old rocks, by definition had no life. And there was a chap from Wigston Boys School, which proved them wrong. Very nice, very satisfying.
You've opened the Visitors Centre today. How important is it to you to support this?
Oh, well, I mean, it's wonderful to see the visitors in the park can learn something about what it is they're seeing. Because you can only learn so much by your own observation. You need help and information and expertise from the beginning. So it tells you what you're looking at. And from Lady Jane Grey's house, and it's watch television. You know about the Tudors and so on. You know about the 12 days of poor Lady Jane Grey was Queen of England before your head was cut off. That's pretty romantic. But it's also wilderness, and we're surrounded by big cities. And yet this is kept wild and wonderful and visitable.
How much of an inspiration was it to you?
Well, it was certainly an inspiration to I learned to love wildlife and be interested in wildlife since I was a boy, and a lot of it was here.
And just briefly, you've talked about the Visitor Centre and inspiring other young generations to enjoy it. What would your message be to the people of Leicester and Leicestershire now this is open?
Well, I don't need to tell them that this is a treasure, but perhaps I do need to tell them that it's in danger. It'll only survive as long as the people in the surrounding towns and cities and villages recognise how precious it is. And treat it with respect, and treat it as the treasure that it certainly is.
So David Attenborough speaking there to Sarah Teal earlier on today in the heart of Bradgate Park. Where are we here? We're actually doing an outside broadcast, a week or so ago, here on BBC Radio Leicester, almost exactly where we were actually, and you'll hear no doubt more from Sir David Attenborough on BBC Radio Leicester in the coming weeks and months, and you'll see more of him on East Midlands Today tonight on BBC One. Look, just before we do the headlines, we are standing next to the most beautiful floral display here in the middle of Harborough, and I've just noticed a young woman called Courtney who has been very careful.